Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be going over the standouts from week 2 of the Washington Commanders training camp, with also doing some stock up and stock down. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and the notification bell as well. And I have a huge announcement for this football season. I will be partnering with BetUS, and if you guys use code Pedro, you guys can get a 125% match on your first deposit up to $2,500. We'll do some shows on it later, but just want to do that big announcement right now. So yeah, all the information will be in the first link in the description. Use code Pedro so you guys can get that deal. Also join the Discord server that just launched. So let's get into it. So the second week of training camp hasn't completely finished yet, but it's basically done. I have to pre-record this, but we've had a lot of new stuff, that's happened because this week has been padded. At least the last 2 days have. So we've learned a lot of new information. Let's start off with some of the studs, and we'll get into some guys that stock went down as well. But Benjamin St-Juste, from all accounts, has had a really good camp so far. John Keim on his podcast said that, he's had a terrific camp. Nikki Jabala tweeted out that he's had a good camp. Some other people as well. And of course, he's gotten beat, but that is to be expected when he's going up against Terry, Jahan, Dyami, Curtis. And one thing also is, I don't really take much stock in the one-on-one drills. Like, sure, maybe it's a little bit of stock, but let's keep it real. That drill is designed for the receiver to win most of the time because they got so much open space. So the receiver should be winning that, that drill. And if he's not, that's when it gets concerning. Like, if a DB makes a play and is able to stop, the completion from happening, that is when it's really impressive. If a guy beats someone, barely, that's not as impressive as a, DB making a play again, because it is a 1v1. But Benjamin St-Juste has done a really, really good job. He's been playing in the slot and has a chance to be a really good corner for us. And I think he probably, if the season started today, would get the nod over someone like Quan Martin. So since I'm going to be talking about a lot of guys, I'm not going to be talking about each guy for too long, but he's one guy that definitely has, been really good. Another guy is Mason Brooks. 2 days in a row, but he's gotten a bunch of praise from the media. The first day, which was the first day of pads, they had one-on-one drills, and he beat Pedro Mathis on a play and on a rep, and Juan Castillo was really hyped. Then the players were calling for a rematch, and Brooks pancaked Mathis, and it was everyone got hype. And then the next day, he was getting some reps, I think with the second team, maybe some with the first team, but a lot, he was getting a lot of praise from the fans that were there and some of the media as well. So he was a guy that gave a lot of signing, a lot of money to as an undrafted free agent. And now with Sadiq Charles getting injured, we don't know for how long. This could be a guy that ends up making the roster. We will see. But stock up, and one of the standouts of camp is Mason Brooks. And honestly, since we're here, we'll go into a little bit of a stock down. Maybe not much, but like if you're getting dominated, not just beat, but dominated 2-3 plays in a row by an undrafted free agent rookie, that's a little bit concerning. So it's not the end of the world, but also this isn't the only thing. We haven't really heard much from Pedro Mathis. We haven't heard from a lot of the guys, but we haven't heard a ton from, about Pedro Mathis this camp. And he's a guy that people would be reporting on if he was doing well, because he is a guy that's, that is interesting because, that they drafted him in the second round last year. So wouldn't say super stock down, but definitely a little tiny. Like if I had to say, measuring before the, training camp started and after, you can't really deny the stock's down a little bit, but super stock up for Mason Brooks, a little bit of stock down for Pedro Mathis. Another guy that's a little bit stock up is Cody Barton. I've heard some good things. He had an interception the other day. He also threw a couple punches yesterday. So, doing a little bit of everything, had some, has been doing pretty well in the run game. So that's another plus for him. This is a specific play, but he just smashed Curtis Samuel shy of the goal line, keeping him out of the end zone, and, proceeded to let out a loud, maniacal sounding chuckle. And I'll show you guys some clips a little bit later on, but he's a guy that's definitely a little bit stock up and probably will be the first team. This is going to be a stock up and stock down. So stock up, Chris Paul. Why? Because Sadiq Charles got injured. You don't never want to, wish injury on anyone, but for Chris Paul's scenario, it is better for him. His stock is a little bit up, and we've heard some solid things about him in camp, but now that he's going to get more of an opportunity, he has a chance to start. I do not feel good about the left guard spot. Chris Paul could be good, but I'm sorry, I'm not trusting an undrafted free agent, or not undrafted, a 7th round second year guy who started one game last year to be the guy. He could end up being that guy, but I don't feel good about it. So maybe they sign a guard and stock down Sadiq Charles. He always gets hurt. He got hurt again. We don't know how big of a deal it is, but even losing 1 day or 2 or 3 days, that is a little bit of a big deal when you're trying to learn a new offense and you're competing for a spot. So big stock down for Sadiq Charles. If it's a 1 day thing, then it's very small stock down. But if it's anything over 3 days, and if it gets to a week plus, pretty major stock down for Sadiq Charles and stock up for Chris Paul for sure. Jahan Dotson and all the receivers, I would say stock up. Jahan has been doing pretty well as of late. Terry's done well almost every single day, but as of late as well. And Dyami, at the start and still the last few days, has been doing really good. One receiver I'll talk about maybe a little bit stock down. But here is a clip of Jahan Dotson just absolutely smoking Christian Holmes right here. He's on the bottom of the screen, and he just makes a little move right there. And I don't know if it was the move or the footing for Christian Holmes, but he just fell. He got cooked right there. And, nice throw by Howell on the run, off balance. Nice throw there by Howell. And, hey, Jahan's been doing well, so shout out to Jahan. And I think there's a good shot that this receiving core is one of the best in the NFL for sure. So he's definitely stock up. Terry's stock up, which can't. His stock's already so high. But here's a clip from it of his one of his best catches of camp, probably the best catch of camp, and he just makes a really nice play right there. So just had to show that. And Dyami's had a few as well, and I've shown a lot of those. So. Just wanted to show that play there for you, just to give you guys a little bit of visual of what Terry's doing. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but stock up for Terry, Jahan, and Dyami. One guy I'll stay maybe a little bit of stock down is Curtis Samuel. Not much, but Terry and Jahan, we already knew they were going to be ahead of him, but still, they've been dominating. Dyami has been really solid, really good in training camp. And combine that with, I haven't really heard anything about Curtis Samuel. Maybe a player 2 each day, but Terry, we hear a lot about, and honestly, I 100% know the media is underreporting it because, okay, you tweet out Terry just caught a 15-yard pass, no one's going to be surprised, no one's going to care because we know that's what he's going to do. But you tweet out, Dyami Brown just made a 15-yard catch, people are going to be more surprised and care more. So Dyami, I think, has probably had a better performance than Curtis, and I haven't heard much about Curtis. So not a big stock down because I think he'll do well, but a little bit of stock down for Curtis Samuel. Very low. But I think, Dyami, big stock up, and the rest of those top receivers for sure. We talk about those guys. Let's go into Chase Young. Stock up for him. He's been pretty good so far for the Commanders. And, in training camp, almost every day we hear something about him. And yeah, he's been getting to the QB, affecting the throws a lot. Maybe it's not a sack every time, but also they can't get sacks in training camp because they can't touch QB. Here's a play where he beats Charles Leno inside, and I'll wait for it to happen right here. It's about to happen, and there you go. Moves inside and is able to, a completion is still made, but he got to the quarterback. And, Charles Leno there got beat big time. So go ahead and play it one more time for you. But I'm expecting a big year for Chase. I think, I need at least 9+ sacks for him. If he has 8 and is really dominant, okay. But we need a big year for Chase. If he wants to get paid, he needs to have a big year for sure. So let's, and one guy stock down, and I don't want to, bash him too much because he, the Leno's just announced they're expecting their 4th kid. But Leno, because Chase has been doing so good, that's the thing with training camp. It sucks and it's also good because, okay, one guy does well and you're like, okay, stock up for him. But then if someone's doing well, someone usually is doing bad, unless it's like a freak play like the Terry play. So Leno's been getting beat a lot, and it is Chase Young, and maybe he's an animal this year, and okay, it is expected, but he's definitely getting beaten a ton for sure. So that's a guy that's a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit stock down for Charles Leno. Let's go a little bit more positive here. A stock up, Byron Pringle. I've heard, he signed, I think, the day before training camp, or maybe 2 days before training camp. and I've heard a lot of good things about him making plays. And, obviously he's not making, as many plays like Dyami and guys like that, but I think he has a solid, I think he has a close to 50% chance of making the roster. There he makes a nice catch. I don't know over who. I can't see the number there, but you guys see there. Is that 37? I don't know. But, he's been pretty good, and just want to give him his flowers there because he's definitely been impressing for sure. So those are the main guys that have impressed. There's some other guys as well. Quan Martin, I've heard some good things about. Percy Butler as well. Offensive line as a whole probably is, I would say, stocked down a little bit. Some guys have been good, like, Mason Brooks and Cosme. I've heard some good things about today. I know he got beat by Payne, but he also beat him the other day. So heard some okay things about some guys, but for the most part, the O-line has been getting beat a ton. So I would say stock down for them. Gibson and Robinson have both been doing well, but if you play fantasy, stock up on Brian Robinson's, pass catching, how much he's involved in that, because he's been getting a ton of attempts there. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below in terms of guys that have impressed you and guys that you think their stock went up or guys you think their stock went down. Yeah, those are the main ones. Maybe because Byron Pringle, his stock's up, someone like Dax Milne, all the undrafted free agents, their stocks are down because, he does play special teams, does return, he can return kicks, I believe. So maybe that would be a little bit of stock down for those guys. And honestly, we haven't heard a ton about, the only undrafted free agent we've heard some from is Casimir Allen. I haven't heard really good things about Mitchell Tinsley. Trumaine, 89, he had one really good day, so he's a guy, practice squad candidate for sure. I know I'm missing, maybe a little bit of stock up for Logan Thomas. We've heard some really good things about him, and I had some notes here. I didn't end up pulling it up for the video, of course, but I'll go ahead and, pull it up as we speak. But again, if you guys are new while I'm waiting for this to load, hit that like button, subscribe, and please join the Discord server and use code Pedro to get 125% off your first time deposit at BetUS. So yeah, I actually talked about all these guys. Maybe Sam Howell a little bit stock up from before the training camp started, but not a ton. He's had some bad days. He's had some good days as well. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace, guys.